as we were saying, let's take a look from the 5D mystics perspective in the Enlightenment Soul Age group at lovely relationships, lunar eclipse, astrological movements, anything and everything that I have for years heard the 4D community. So I'll explain that in longer episodes on the podcast. But here I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, a functional adult, and I support people to be their self with a inner growth mindset and knowing how to work it, because I've worked it, and also I'm attachment and trauma informed. So I also know about the shit that comes up, which it's not shit, but it is, stuff. And that's called charges. Some will call them trauma charges. Some will call them emotional charges. And here's why the 5D peeps, the 5D collective, mystics and not, we actually take ownership of the charges because it's all emotional stuff. So since you're a human and I'm a human, we have emotions and they lead us. I got to learn all about it. And in this episode, we won't talk about it in depth, but we do on the podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about empowerment. So when you are an actually self-empowered human being, you don't have the codependent type emotional behavior, which involves low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive. What else was there? Oh, not knowing boundaries at all, because rigidity or chaos is not actually healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries means that I get to tell you directly with a tone as an emotional grown-up, a functional adult, what's going on. Here's the data, here's my emotions, and sometimes I might be passionate about it, doesn't matter, but I'm aware because I'm in my prefrontal cortex. So I show up fully and completely self-empowered. In fact, we have the Self-Empowered Enlightened series, IHPIG, which is all about that stuff. Well, they all are, but as we move forward, as I move forward and expand my knowledge, thanks to good educators, the 5D educators, the ones who know how humans are made. So our heart, when whole, thanks mom, whole 3-year-old heart here, no shame button. That means I have no emotional trigger to basically feel unworthy. Wow, yeah, I know, right? And so all these astrologers lately, the 25th, the lunar eclipse, this, that, don't take people back, don't compromise, what was it, date mediocrely. I'm thinking, well, who would? If they have this, it's going to be very easy for somebody to say, hey, don't treat me like that. But as an attachment trauma informed person, and thank you, Patrick Tiahan, childhood trauma survivor, he's healed, I always say healing, and he's a therapist, and he's online with a great community. Go over there if you feel called to, because he creates awareness not only of childhood trauma, but he also supports people to heal and get out of it and reparent, and therefore not project the low self-esteem, insecure, codependent type relationships, the blamers, and then there's the martyrs and the superiors. So he gives really good examples of what projection looks like when you have insecurities from your childhood trauma stuff. And it's important stuff, but I've seen many people ignore good information. So, for example, one of it was you walk into a shopping, whatever, supermarket, and the cashier lady looks at you weird, and you get triggered, and you call the lady a bitch, or someone who's basically thinking about who knows what. You make assumptions with your insecure emotional stuff, and you project that in your mouth as you talk to some other human being, and you make an assumption on another human being based on your low self-esteem. Okay, so again, whole 3-year-old hearts, we have no shame. So whenever someone's been like, I don't like you, okay, I've cried about it. I've went to my mother as I grew up, and I learned that I was too serious as a child. So I just learned to wait till I was grown up, and now I'm a grown up, and I definitely love my friends, and they love me, and I'm still serious, and they are also, but not the same way. So when you get educated, you show up fully and completely because you love to use left and right mode. The right mode is where all the emotions come up, where you can project. No, you don't project when you say, wait a minute, I'm upset right now. Wait a minute, I have this insecurity. It doesn't have anything to do with the cashier lady. Maybe she's not even looking at me. Okay, so I will use me after as an example, but I want to continue with some of our channeled guidance because the cards came out on purpose. So alignment and the divine feminine, that's all your body stuff. And whenever we have ascension energies, the shit comes up. It's not shit, but it's charges. Okay, so the 5D collective is made up of people who have unconditional love. So they learn how to silence their mind. And this is without needing yoga, but some will do yoga. The mind is the part that uses your left to chit-chatter, and also the emotions are in there. The emotions come up first. If you have a window of welcome for emotions, thank you, Mom. I'm highly sensitive. No, too sensitive, too serious, too TOO. I learned about it when I was a kid growing up, and I learned how it's okay because even a cockroach is beautiful to their mother. In the Naples, Italy sayings, my mother's Neapolitan Italian. So I knew even if I were ugly, I would be loved forever and ever and ever. And this is called, thank you, Gabor Mate. When you're lovingly accepted, you don't work for love, and you can express all your basic emotions. And you should hear my 3-year-old tone with my mom. I've been working on it. Yeah, just saying. So some of us, yeah, we don't have the shame button, but we do learn how to respect people. Thank you, Mom and Jesus. Come on over. And I can't use the word that I would use, but I'll use Akash as a channeler and an Akashic record reader, tarot reader. And so again, astrology, sure, yes, very important. Anytime energy is moving around between the planets and the moon, always, I feel it, your energy body will expand. And the whole thing of resistance or karma and words that the 4D uses, but they don't bring in the whole unfinished business. They're not trauma and attachment informed. This is what I kept seeing. You're saying upgrade. There's no upgrades going on. The people of our oversoul, they're not sirens or mermaids or evil or energy vampires. These are human beings. Why are you dehumanizing human beings? Lo and behold, structural dissociation takes place for a lot of individuals in general that don't realize that they bring their unfinished business, meaning your household stuff from when you were 0-1, attached panicky, 3-7, shame submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11-12, and fight 14-15-16. These are charged states. Thank you, Sue Martin, my lovely teacher, from one of my basic trauma courses, and then I got more trauma courses. And I was like, wow, I have those parts. Yep, I definitely do. My teenager doesn't rule me, though, because I'm a grown-up, because I have a whole 3-year-old heart. When you're emotionally aware, you grow all your relationships. You don't cut people out of your oversoul. You don't treat them like they're energy vampires or talk shit about them. No, okay, so 4D, they don't know how to use their mind. They're in their amygdala with a bias. It's implicit, cultural, all of it. I have Maria's stuff, but I don't throw it at people. So I'm going to use a story. And FYI, okay, remember, divine feminine, we're using it as our body. So when you're in alignment and flow and you know how to work your mind, it's because you have integration of the brain capacity, which everyone can have. And if you have a challenge, then you would know it, because you would have a shame cycle with inner critic and outer critic as your forms of thought. You would also ruminate and feel very, very upset, and you would go get distracted with the drinking, the fucking, the drugging, the fooding, the working, whatever it is that becomes a mechanism. So any smart human being, because people like to use that word, so if you're smart, then you're going to be at the very least self-aware of, I'm doing stuff that isn't bringing my energy body up to speed. Yeah, maybe I'm following like a movie called Hangover, so reclaiming my power has nothing to do with anything. Before I'm reclaiming my power, I'm going to be unfriendly to you, because that's how I'm going to show off. That's a teenager. Okay, so that's not actually the way that you become a chameleon and that you grow up in time. These also, so these are beautiful. What the 5D collective has is the opportunity to know that there's no wrong paths, but there are wrong paths, and that your fire is not meant to be projected at people. If you are somebody who wants to protect life in general, you're going to be a person who freely shares with softness, firmness, direct communication, and unconditional love who you are. That's what empowerment is. Empowerment is not me yelling in your face. No, but me learning how to grow up emotionally. So I was able to do it organically, which we talk about in the episodes, and supporting people to do it right now. Instead of doing, I don't want to do personal development, I want life now. We get to talk about how beautiful it is when the puzzles of your life come together, and your inner strength is actually unconditional love for who you are, because you know healthy self-worth. I'm not made wrong. You're not made wrong. I have flaws. You have flaws. We can talk about it, because it's a relationship. We're not living the movies. And that's why heart and mind is what 5D gets to have. And I don't have enough time for a story, but you can tune into the episodes for stories. At the end of the day, integration of the brain is you choosing my behavior does affect another. I want to work with my tone, because that way I can be better in my relationships. I began that with my mother and my twin, because that's where my 3-year-old comes up. And with other people, it was thanks to my mom that the 3-year-old doesn't come up. What comes up is an equanimous enlightenment soul ager person, which is fun. And 5D mystics, this is fun. Astrology, great to know about, doesn't affect you the same way when you're taking your unfinished business saying, I got emotions, I got thoughts, let me handle them with love.